Hello. Beep, 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 beep. Welcome back to the Court of the Edijester. A good morning to you all, and I hope that you are well. I'm coughing up. It's 5 a.m., and it's time to talk ridiculous nonsense. Yes, here's a doozy for you. Men, manly men doing manly things. You are at risk of genital mutilation of the female kind. Yes, I kid you not. We have reached peak insanity, I think, in this particular issue from the Royal College of Policing, a quango which, quite frankly, deserves not to exist. It needs to go. It's causing untold harm and damage. But before we begin, come be a warrior teacher, buy me a coffee, subscribe. Everything that I would normally ask you to do, please do. Share this far and wide, because this is an outrage of the first order. Trans women at risk of female genital mutilation, claims the College of Policing. Inclusion of biological males in new guidance branded as insulting to real victims. Transgender women are at risk of female genital mutilation, the College of Policing has claimed. This is utterly surreal. I mean, it's always been utterly surreal. The whole nonsense of trans has always been utterly surreal. But this is undeniably insulting. Undeniably insulting. On such a profound level that you'd think that they would close out of shame. Now, I don't know what the Royal College of Policing is in terms of its standing legally. It's some kind of quango as far as I can tell. But the government should be straight out of the gate going, you're shutting, we're done with you, you're a bunch of Normans, because they've been doing stuff like this forever. They're responsible for non-crime 8 incidents. But this is on a whole another level. Now, the men that watch this, and 41% of you are men. Men! I'm talking to you. If you're not familiar with this kind of thing, because it's a subject that most men would probably go, oof, no thank you, right? You need to go and look for a woman called Hibbo Wardair. Okay? Hibbo Wardair is a stalwart campaigner against the dreadful and deeply disturbing practice of female genital mutilation. And it's something that, even though you're a man, you should know about. You should know about, because it is another one of those dreadful situations where women are treated appallingly at the behest of, in most cases, men. It's a cultural thing. It's seen in other countries normally, not here. I think there's only been about 4 or 5 prosecutions for it since it was made illegal. I personally think that operating on women who are mentally ill enough to think they are trans and therefore are operated on in the genital area, I think that is female genital mutilation. And my concern here is what they're doing at the Royal College of Policing is they're queering the idea. They're preparing themselves. They're queering the idea. They're trying to steel man the idea by making it something that happens to everybody. That's what I think they're doing. And if that's so, then it's appalling on multiple levels, and somebody should be brought to book for it. I'd like to know who is at the centre of this particular spider's web that is the College of Policing. But somewhere along the line, there's an EDI, DEI bod somewhere that's doing this. I'll put money on it. But, you let me know what you think in the comments, because I could be completely wrong. Let's continue. New guidelines issued by the taxpayer-funded Quango state that trans women could be forced to undergo female genital mutilation despite them being biologically male. That's insane. The suggestion that they might be forced to suffer mutilation specifically intended for young girls has been branded as insulting to victims. Female genital mutilation, which is illegal in the UK, includes the removal of the labia, the clitoris, and almost total sealing of the vagina. The College of Policing's claims appear in guidance for officers investigating honour-based abuse, which sets out for details of female genital mutilation protection orders, which are court orders officers can seek to protect potential victims. Introduced in August, the guidance states that as well as women and girls, these orders protect any other person who has female genitalia and is at risk of harm from these practices and procedures. This includes intersex, non-binary, trans men and women with or without a gender recognition certificate. It's utterly surreal. In what world does anybody sane think that men have female genitalia? In what world that is sane does anybody believe that some surgeon diddling around with your dubris is going to change it from meat and veg, right, to clam chowder. That's what we're talking about here. They really think that something magical has happened that makes a man's genitals into a woman's genitals. It's utterly insane. Utterly insane. The college is now reviewing the guidance, following the Supreme Court ruling. They need the Supreme Court to tell them that a man's a man and a woman's a woman. That a woman is defined by biological sex under the Equality Act 2010. Even the Telegraph is getting in on the game here, right? It's not biological sex. A woman is defined by sex. That's it. As trans women are biological males, there's no such thing as a trans woman. They're just biological males. Biological males, a sex change operation could be necessary to provide them with simulacra of female genitalia. It's not a sex change operation, is it? If it's providing them with a simulacra. That's like saying a wax apple is a real apple. But the circumstances under which a person who has undergone a sex change procedure would then be forced to undergo a culturally specific practice, which is reserved for young girls, is not made clear in the policing guidance. Where do you go with this? Female genital mutilation is practiced predominantly in Africa as well as parts of Asia, principally Indonesia and the Middle East. The World Health Organization, who has stated that 99% of women in Somalia have undergone genital mutilation. The UNFPA, the United Nations Sexual and Reproductive Health Agency, has stated that the practice is usually performed on girls aged 5 to 9, although in some areas the female genital mutilation is carried out during infancy, as early as a couple of days after birth. These people are barbarians. Barbarians. The practice has become a matter for British policing because girls from immigrant backgrounds can be mutilated during visits to their families' countries of origin, with Sudan, Egypt and Eritrea listed as among the most prevalent by the NHS. The inclusion of trans women in guidance on policing this issue has been criticised by author Helen Joyce, the director of advocacy for the charity Sex Matters. She told the Telegraph, "It should be obvious to anyone with half a brain that men cannot be subjected to female genital mutilation. The clue is in the name. The pretense that they can is insulting to the women who suffer this barbarity for nothing more than the crime of being female. Women are subjected to these atrocities because of cruel cultural practices that subjugate women on the basis of their sex, not because of how they identify." The insanity of this is, it's a gift article, so you can see it in the Telegraph. Go and have a read of it yourself and find out a bit more. Helen is absolutely right, of course. The problem we've got here is that those barbaric cultures exist in the UK now. Then the barbarians that carry out exist in the UK. And men, right, before you start, it's not even vaguely the same as circumcision of men. Not even vaguely the same as circumcision of men. There is no case on God's earth where a man or where a woman needs female genital mutilation, and there are plenty of cases on God's earth where a man needs circumcision, phimosis being one of them. So don't for 1 second think that you can compare the two things, because they are not comparable on any level. Men, educate yourself on this one. The Royal College of Policing is insane. They're insane. And they've got somebody in their ranks who is driving that insanity. And I, for one, would like to know who. And perhaps you would too. Go and read the article. My gobbeth is smacketh. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.